Soaring high above Artist Alley, here's your look at the new DC Collectibles DC Artist Alley Chrissie Zullo Hawkgirl. Inspired by the popular comic convention experience, DC Artist Alley is an artist-focused, limited edition vinyl figure line that merges indie design with the most iconic characters in the DC universe. Chrissie Zullo was first discovered via the DC Comics talent search a decade ago. Since then, Chrissie has worked in all facets of the industry, doing work on interiors, covers, and variants for multiple titles and publishers, created with a dreamlike fairy tale aesthetic. Her work is modern in both origin. She uses both analog and digital tools in her work, and subject matter. Video games, films by Miyazaki and Disney, Star Wars. While her work covers many subjects, an aura of joy and positivity emerges from each piece that she We're going to go ahead and get the measurements for Hawkgirl, and I'm going to take that right to the very top of her helmet. One thing you'll probably see right away is that this particular statue doesn't have the trademark circular black display stand that has come included with both Supergirl and Wonder Woman. I'm sure you could see that, but just something to FYI. FYI also, according to the Ultra Megatron 5000, you're looking at a statue that's standing 7.8 inches. That seems a little bit taller than the other two that we had a look at. Seems to me like we're probably going to have to do some comparisons now, shouldn't we? Switching that, though, before we do anything else, switching that to centimeters, you're looking at the statue standing exactly 20 centimeters tall. Yes, I think a size comparison or comparisons with some of the other statues is a much needed requirement here. So I'm going to do my best to bring those all in, the ones that we had looked at before. Now, you'll see that Hawkgirl is taller. Technically, she is on top of some clouds. So I'm going to just assume that she would have been around the same height as the other two that we had a look at. You'll see right off the bat, I mean, they are very distinct to one another. Even though for the fact that Hawkgirl does still come perched atop of something, I still think I would have liked to have a circular display base underneath, just so that all three statues are at least the same when it comes to the bottom of the bases. Speaking of the bottom of the base, even though she does technically not have a circular display base, she is still marked underneath the 3,000 copies that she's limited to. This one was very nicely supplied by the folks over at DC Collectibles, and with that such also includes an artist proof number. Normally that would be the standard number that would be out of the sequence of 1,000, but in this case it would be AP03, artist proof number 3. Every statue that we've looked at thus far have included an accessory. Wonder Woman was the benefactor of actually 2 accessories if you technically count the sword and, of course, the wall facing that was behind her. Supergirl came with Streaky, the Super Cat. As for Hawkgirl, even though she doesn't unfortunately get the circular display base that we just finished talking about, she does, however, come with a much needed accessory. That is her mace. The mace actually comes out of the packaging loose. It's not part of the statue, so it does involve a little bit of assembly. Let me go ahead and show you how that works right now. To put it into her hand, you really want to use the more narrow end of the handle. And I find actually if you put it in kind of on an angle like this, if you're kind of angling in like this, and then if you push it down only by the top of it, and then successfully bring it back down, she holds it in her hand. Now, it may only be for the couple of times that I've done this. Obviously, in the beginning of this review, I would have had it in place. I also immediately getting this out just before hitting that record button. I always like to try out the accessories as well. I did notice, though, that a little bit of paint has unfortunately chipped off her hand. This can easily be remedied for the fact that if you're only going to be doing this one time, and one time only of getting the mace in her hand, you may not risk further chipping, but I did notice that there's a little bit of paint that has removed from the edges of at least one of the fingertips. So I would advise, if you are planning to pick this one up for yourself, and I really would recommend that you do, probably don't take the mace off too often. Don't put it back in her hand too often, because you may have chipping of her hand happen way too often. As for the statue itself, few changes, of course, can be made for the fact that, yes, it doesn't come with a circular base. Okay, I won't mention that anymore. But she does have a really neat kind of way to display her. The fact that she is now kind of floating over top of discolored clouds. Not the normal happy-go-lucky, fluffy, white, cotton-like clouds. Instead, kind of almost look like they're storm clouds. The fact that they're a little bit darker, a little bit more grayer in color. I don't know really what the story is behind the clouds themselves. I'm sure anyone would say don't spend a whole lot of time talking about clouds, but I feel the need just to mention it to you that it's not pearly white clouds, not super white, fluffy clouds. They are fluffy, yes, but not white, no. In fact, actually, all the things on it you would expect to be white are instead changed for the better. The clouds, as we've already discussed at nausea, I'm sure, are done in gray. Her wings, which I almost would have almost thought too could have been white, instead they've given a rather nice surprise. A surprise being a silver metallic paint. I think I happen to like this. I think I happen to like this quite a bit. It's just different. It's something that you wouldn't normally see. I always kind of picture Hawkgirl to have white wings. So really, it's a nice, pleasant surprise to see them actually in silver. Paint on this is most part decent. There are some little areas where yellow always seems to be a hard color to paint on statues. I do see very noticeable brush strokes on this, but I do want to stress this. These are artist proof that we were looking at right now. These are hand painted pieces. The ones that you're going to be seeing eventually in comic book stores hitting in July may not have the same similar noticeable brush marks that I'm seeing here on this particular piece. The head sculpt is actually quite decent enough. I like that intentionally, I'm sure, they added like a little kind of outline to the eyes. The eyes are also not quite white. They're not quite gray. They're actually kind of like a white that have a little bit of airbrushing of gray and almost even blue around the outer edges there. Speaking of outlining, you can also see too that they've outlined the lips. And it seems like a calling card for Chrissie Zullo's work. She does also have that little bit of reflection that we had already discussed before with both Wonder Woman and Supergirl. There's that little bit of reflection. Let me just get my finger in there just in one split second there, just to show you there's that little bit of reflection happening on the bottom end of the lip. Again, a calling card, it seems, for Chrissie Zullo's work. I didn't even realize it when we had first looked at Wonder Woman. Thought it was maybe like a paint defect until realizing later it's actually on the packaging, and that's the way that DC Collectibles have translated quite rather successfully the original artwork material, taking that and translating it to a vinyl statue. The mace is a little loose, depending again how you get it firmly fixed into her fingers. Even if you like just bring the mace down just a little bit, seems to keep it relatively secure. Banging it a little bit can cause it to kind of dislodge from the finger grip and become loose, a little bit loose again. You've got the Hawkgirl logo featured there in a buckle, as well as if we move and travel our ways away from the "You Are Here" belt buckle, you can see that there's a few little pockets, two rather large pockets represented there on the side of her draping belt. Trademark colors here for Hawkgirl, the greens and the yellows, are very much presently provided here, and she also does have a little bit of red in the upper areas of her trunks, as well as red and yellow are greeted you at the door when it comes to her boots. Just a little extra bonus too. that the boots, the little banding of yellow, is actually raised. It's sculpted. It's not simply just painted in place. Again, a little bit of extra care and detail provided by the folks over at DC Collectibles. Overall, I'm really happy with this particular statue. Just between you, me, and the other 3 people watching this video, there's a couple more people watching this video, Hawkgirl's never really been a big thing for me. Of the various DC vixens, I usually have always gravitated towards, say, the likes of Wonder Woman, the likes of Harley Quinn, the likes of Catwoman, even Poison Ivy. Hawkgirl always seemed a little lower down for me on interest level. I mean, almost based on really this statue, kind of has elevated a little bit of my appeal for this particular character. That being said, though, I mean, it's still Hawkgirl at the end of the day. So as good as this statue has been presented by DC Collectibles, I would not say it's necessarily my favorite. And once again, bringing the other ones that we had a look at already, the Wonder Woman and the Supergirl with Streaky the Super Cat. Of course, we can't forget Streaky. Of the 3, I still think my favorite is, in fact, I don't even think, I know my favorite is Wonder Woman. And again, it's just because I'm such a mark when it comes to Wonder Woman. Anything that's Wonder Woman, I'm usually right on board. And I really do like the Wonder Woman. I think of the 3, she is my favorite. Followed closely, I think, by Supergirl. I might still say that Hawkgirl, unfortunately, sorry Hawkgirl, as great as the sculpt is, as nice as the paint is, for the most part, she is my 3rd favorite from this lineup. Just so unfortunately happens that she's just the 3rd statue out of 3 that we've looked at, and she is my 3rd favorite. I'm sure, based on what I've seen so far from Chrissie Zullo's statue release of Catwoman, DC Collectibles release of Chrissie Zullo's Catwoman, I'm still thinking, no offense to Hawkgirl, I think she's still going to be the 4th favorite of the 4 statues that we're going to be looking at. Of course, that can be a little bit of... I shouldn't probably guess that so quickly, as we really haven't had a look at Batgirl just yet. Right, how does that phrase go again when you make assumptions? I probably shouldn't have made such strong assumptions that Hawkgirl was ultimately going to be my least favorite from this lineup. Take this humble reviewer's opinion with a grain of salt. I only say that because I've never really been a big fan of Hawkgirl to start off with. Never really been that strong on Hawkman either. But Hawkgirl, unfortunately, of these 4 statues from the new lineup of Chrissie Zullo, just unfortunately, I think will adopt the fact that she'll get the 4th slotted ranking. It just so happens that the next one that we're going to be having a look at for this new lineup of statues just happens to be Batgirl. Oh, right, yeah, it's another one of my favorite vixens of all time. So, unfortunately, even though I'm not a big fan of Hawkgirl, it will probably still result in her being the 4th favorite, my 4th favorite from this new 4 statue release. Now, again, just because I don't like Hawkgirl as much takes nothing really away from the statue. DC Collectibles, again, has done a bang-up job on this release. I like the flow and stance that they've got her in. I would have loved if they had given her the equally same circular black display stand, as we've already had a look at the other 2 figures. But from what I'm seeing also, Batgirl is not going to come with one either, so it sort of balances it out that 2 come with circular bases and 2 of them don't. If you are, though, a fan of Hawkgirl, you'll probably like this one a little bit more than I have. Some good news, though, is if you guys are interested in picking this one up for yourself, Hawkgirl, Wonder Woman, Supergirl, and the upcoming look at Batgirl will all be hitting comic book stores and online stores in July. Mark that on a calendar. You don't have to necessarily mark it in permanent marker, because I don't think people generally, well, some people erase things on calendars. You could probably even put that in pencil. Mark it in on a calendar, though. You can probably just stretch it across July. The release date for this is in July. So just draw like an arrow and just draw the lines through all the days and just right across the whole calendar. DC Artist Alley Chrissie Zullo's releases will be coming out. I just hope that nobody else has any other plans that they need to mark down on that family calendar. Probably want to get yourself a separate calendar. Yeah, you're going to have to invest a lot into this. Get yourself a separate calendar, mark it down. Chrissie Zullo's releases will be coming out in July. Again, a big thank you. Big thank you to the folks over at DC Collectibles who were nice enough to supply the 4, I know we only looked at 3 right now, but the 4 statues from Chrissie Zullo's with Batgirl coming up in the next review. I know I'm just kind of giving it away, but you probably already knew that the next one was going to be Batgirl. Speaking, though, of upcoming reviews, how does one follow this channel? You can follow this channel by hitting that one subscribe button that's just below this video. How does one know that when new videos are coming to the channel, they'll get notifications? You are asking all the right questions. You can hit that bell notification that's just below this video, turn it on to full notifications, and then that way when new videos are coming onto this channel, you'll never miss a beat. Ba-doom boom. Future videos are going to be coming on soon to this channel, and as well, like I said, we're going to have a look at the Chrissie Zullo's Batgirl right around the corner. She's like, I'm looking at him right now, Ray. Okay, never mind. Either way, guys, let me know what you guys think down below of the new DC artist alley, Chrissie Zullo, Hawkgirl from the folks over at DC Collectibles. Obviously, you haven't probably picked this up for yourself, but based on this review, what you guys think of the statue, let me know down below in the comments section, and I'll see you guys next time.